as well as doing the teaching, I've also, particularly in the last 2 years, I've been working for Oxford University Press for a project which is called the Dictionary of National Biography. The first edition of this dictionary was published about 20 volumes long, and it's been added to by various sort of volumes of missing persons and by decade volumes every decade this century for people who've died during that decade. The original idea with it was to have a sort of reference tool for people who wanted to look up somebody who was a bishop or a writer, but not necessarily so famous that a whole biography of them had been published. So each entry is maybe a page long, can be in the case of, a prime minister or, a famous writer, it could be considerably longer. So there's this dictionary published in the 1890s, and obviously it's beginning to get a bit dated in the sort of main sections that perhaps 100 years of scholarship and publications has added to what we know. There's also the secondary point that it was produced in the 1890s. It doesn't have very many women in. It doesn't have very many people who are, let's say what you might call working class leaders or who are away from the general sort of generals, bishops, politicians themes of the earlier one. So it's been decided to do a whole new edition, a second edition. So this second edition is in preparation. Obviously, it's difficult to sort of organise all these contributions. Most of them come from, they're sent out to people who are experts in that particular field. Obviously, some historian is the expert on 17th century church. He gets a huge wad of 17th century bishops. What happens a lot of the time is there's people that there's nobody who's particularly an expert in them. And in my position, this is what these ones sort of come to me on a contract basis. So I somebody comes to me and says, can you write on, this 17th century hagiographer, so a person who wrote histories of saints. So I say, yes, I think I can manage a hagiographer, and, off I go and into the library and try and dig out what I can on them and write my entry. I've done all sorts of entries. I've done from a 15th century bishop to a 20th century doctor. Mostly I've been working on what's called the early modern period, the 16th and 17th centuries. That's just because it's happened in the last couple of years since I finished my degree. That's been the section they've been working on. So I've been having a go at those. It's interesting. It can be. It has a certain appeal in the sort of somebody who's totally obscure, living in the 16th century, who was perhaps a famous person in their day, but now is extremely unregarded, and it can be fascinating to go off and see what you can dig up about them, and there's a certain sort of fascination in that, but it can be immensely dull, immensely tedious, unrewarding, but there's worse things I could be doing.